Friday. Lots to look forward to on the show today. 3 teams involved in European football and domestic duties return as well. First on the agenda today, Rafi, Rangers in the Europa League. A 4-1 win over Nice. What was your thoughts on the performance?
Absolutely amazing. You know, I think everybody thought it was going to be a tough tie. You know, I think a draw would have been a thought on everybody's lips at the end of the day, but the way they started the game, and it's absolutely incredible, the performances that they put in Europe, entirely different from what they do here. You know, so I'm sure the manager would want to get his finger on why it's not happening here and happening abroad, but again, total number of points is fantastic and they're nearly there.
Is a good performance in Europe, David, that perhaps Rangers need to kick them on domestically?
Yeah, well, they've had a few good results in Europe and you keep thinking that's going to kick them on, but it seems to be in the league that I don't know if they're just struggling against teams that sit in against them and make it hard to beat them. I think Europe seems to suit them a lot better in terms of being open and counter-attacking, and I think Nice, they basically done themselves with how they defended, giving the ball away so easily, but Rangers took full advantage and yeah, it was a fantastic result. They
were denied a penalty. Alison, what was your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't think they needed it. Thought it was very, very comfortable for Rangers. I think it's just so bizarre that you have two sides of this same team that they're very comfortable in a European context. Then they come to domestic football and they look significantly frailer. They look really fragile when there's any kind of pressure on them. I think Philippe Clement would have welcomed the result and the performance, particularly the performance. And I think what he'll be trying to do is just sow the seeds of the positives that were there and try and implement it now into domestic performance. I think there's an argument to say it's already too late this season, but certainly they're crying out for a bit of stability that they need this weekend.
Absolutely. Well, it was Tierney, Diamundi and an Igamane double that got Rangers the points in the end. Here's what Philippe Clement had to say about the Moroccan striker. We're working hard with all staff physically to make him stronger. He made big progress that way, but also tactically doing things right for the team. Cyriel Dessers has to step up his game for sure. There will be competition between them. It's about seeing who's in the best shape, but not a decision for weeks and months. David, does Igamane keep his place over Dessers this weekend?
I think so. The way he took his 2 goals, especially the second one, the nutmeg, and the composure, because he had Tierney at the back post for a tap-in, so if he'd missed that, he's probably getting a little bit of stick, and know the scoreline gives him that freedom to take the shot on, but it's a fantastic finish.
Just his first goal, Rafi. What is the goalkeeper doing that far off his line?
Yeah, the goalkeeper always gets the blame, doesn't it? You know, but you know, we'll probably talk about another one later on, the other game, the Celtic game. But these things happen in a game. You've just got to put them at the back of your mind and just get on with it.
You know what you're getting from Dessers now. He's scored 10 goals across all competitions this season, but is it maybe the chances that he misses that are remembered more?
I think so, yeah, and I think especially the bigger games, he's the likes of your Celtics. He's not scored in those games, which always shows up, and everyone highlights that. So if Igamane steps up and starts scoring goals, then Dessers is going to have to start converting more chances than he currently is.
Did you ever feel that in your playing career, that somebody was nipping at your heels?
Probably all the time. I wasn't one that was starting constantly. I was always in and out. So yeah, I never had the luxury of knowing that I was playing every single week, unfortunately.
Alison, they come up against Johnstone this weekend, who've albeit lost 3 out of their last 5 games, but they've scored in every game since they met Rangers earlier in October.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think Sammy Valakari will know he's got his work cut out for him as he tries to oversee the rebuilding job that he took on up in Perth. But I think Rangers will probably prevail on Sunday, but I'll be really interested to see what the team is to start with. I thought Rangers looked a better team without Dessers and without James Tavernier. I thought they looked better balanced and more dangerous. I think there'll be a lot of people interested to see whether Dessers goes back in. I think it would be very, very unfair on Igamane to take him out after the 2 goals. I think Dessers has looked at times this season like a player who's lost. I know you can look at stats and say 10 goals so far is not a bad return. However, I think if you're at Rangers, you need to be clinical, and I think at the minute with the way Rangers are playing, I think it makes sense to try something new. It's not been working in a domestic sense, or certainly performances have been laboured when points have been coming. I think given the fluency with which they played against Nice on Thursday night, for me the same starting 11 has to go and go up against St Johnstone.
Yeah, it's a tough run of games for Rangers after this weekend. They host Kilmarnock, then they head to Dingwall to face Ross County, and then Hampden away at Shropshire for the cup final.
Yeah, well, I know Henry going to Ross County compared to what happened last year. You know, it sort of derailed them going for the league title. We know Ross County always give a good account of themselves up there. They're on not a bad wee run at home, particularly. You know, they're picking up points. They're getting away for that bottom two, which obviously the players relax a wee bit more when you're not in that pressure pot. But as far as the weekend concerns, I still think Rangers will have too much. For St Johnstone, I think they'll have too many attempts at goal, you know, and I think some of them will hit the back of the net. But St Johnstone have been better since the new manager's come in.
Absolutely. What is your take on the criticism, David, that Clemont's face? Is it harsh? Is it fair in some aspects?
Personally, I think it's fair at times. I think when you watch them, as you said, about being laboured, there's no real way of playing. You watch them, I think they're very direct at times towards Dessers, who I don't think, for how big of a guy he is, he doesn't really take the ball in well, doesn't link the game that well, and especially with the two wingers that like to come inside and try and link. It's not like the old school wingers going down the line putting crosses in. They want to come in, play 1-2s off the striker, and I don't think his link-up play has been good enough, and I think that shows domestically why results have been so patchy.
What are we thinking for this weekend?
I think Rangers will get a comfortable win, especially after last night. I think they'll be in a high. As we've spoke about with Igamane, if he starts, he's going to be confident. He'll be looking to add more goals to try and keep himself in the team. And yeah, I can't see anything else but a Rangers win, to be honest.
Same for me. Yeah, I think Rangers will, as I said, have more goal scoring opportunities. I think St Johnstone will make it difficult for them early on, but I think if Rangers get that first goal early on, they could win out 2 or 3.
Ali, any agreements?
I think it'll be 2-1. I think Rangers will win. I think they need to win. I think they know the pressure is on, and I think they badly need to get a win. And yeah, I'd fancy them to take it, but I don't think it'll be particularly straightforward.
Yeah, well, on to Celtic then. A share of the points in the Champions League against Club Brugge. A very contrasting opening half to what we're used to seeing, Ruffy, at Celtic Park.
Yeah, I thought this team were particularly good. You know, I think we spoke about it last week. I mean, they went to Aston Villa, you know, and won 1-0. You know, so you know, I think Celtic knew what they were going to get. It was a free-flowing game. They had chances, Celtic had chances. You know, I think they had maybe more than Celtic early on. I think Celtic goalkeeper had a good save at 1 each. You know, but Carter-Vickers will be still having nightmares about that. It's I was really when he said he couldn't hear. You know, he said the noise in the stadium. He was shouting, "Here I am," you know, but obviously with the buzz in the ground, that Carter-Vickers couldn't hear where he was, you know, so he just sort of naturally turned around and thought he was there. But I think Schmeichel had come out to make it easier for Kuhn, and the boy cut the avenue off, and just one of these things that happen. But it's horrible when you're a goalkeeper and you're running after it. You think you're going to get there, but you know you're not going to get there, and all of a sudden you're in the net and you're picking yourself out. But no, I thought they come back, they composed themselves and come back. And I think at the end of the day, a draw was a good result.
Was it a bit of naivety there, David, from Carter-Vickers?
Yes, as we've touched on there, the noise at Celtic Park, especially on the Champions League night, it would be hard to hear. And it's just one of those unfortunate ones, as you said. He's made the angle for Kuhn to play him to probably go long, gets cut out and goes Carter-Vickers, who's just no awareness of where Schmeichel is at that moment in time.
You can see it the minute it leaves his
motion.
He knows, you can just see the horror on his face, you know it's coming.
The picture of him with his hands.
It's like watching it in slow motion almost, you can see it trickling in. But yeah, I think it's just anticipation. He absolutely anticipates that Schmeichel is in the centre of the goal. It's completely oblivious to the fact that he's moved for Kuhn. I thought Kuhn could have done better with where he was. I think you know, he kind of put Schmeichel in a position to have to take it, but it's such a poor goal to lose at Champions League level, although you would have to say at that point Bruges were well worth the goal of a lead. They were very
I think also when it goes into Kuhn, he's expecting to have the bounce pass to start with.
Yes.
When there's usually you've got a sitting midfielder coming around to take that pass, there's no one there. So he's naturally going straight back to goal, and yeah, as soon as that one gets cut out, it's only Carter-Vickers he has, which is unfortunate that he's not aware of where Schmeichel is.
Absolutely. It was the same starting 11 against RB Leipzig. What did Bruges do to limit Celtic, or what did Celtic not do in the first half particularly?
I don't think they were at their fluent best. They obviously had a tough game as well at the weekend, getting into that Champions League game away to Tynecastle, which is that is always a tough game, that, regardless of how Hearts have been doing, because I thought they played well first half of that game. And when you're playing similar teams constantly, it does take its toll, especially going up against top clubs, and Brugge are a very good club. They've been in Champions League previously, making it hard for teams, as you said. Villa, great result. So I don't think 1 each is a bad result, especially in the position that Celtic are in. They're still in good shape to qualify.
And these teams do their homework. They identify the players like McGregor.
Yeah.
You know, you get 2 players on McGregor that stops his movement and his, you know, the way he's dictating the game. Celtic fullbacks love getting forward. So when you get possession of the ball, you just hit it into that area, and it's just doing your homework, you know, but you've just got to combat that.
Arne Engels was also a player who was kept quiet on Wednesday night. He's only 20 years old. He's come under a bit of criticism, but here's what Brendan Rodgers had to say about the youngster. I would hope that people learn their lesson. The same people that were writing off Paolo Bernardo and Nicholas Kuhn, you have to look and understand that development takes time. Some will hit the ground running and adapt perfect, but not everyone is like that, especially a young player. Is he a confidence player, Alison? Does he need to do something in the game to play well?
I think he looks a wee bit as though he's lost a bit of confidence. I thought he started particularly well when he first came in. I do wonder about the £11 million price tag that's round his neck. You think if Celtic had maybe paid £2 or £3 million for him, would there be as much scrutiny on him, or would it make it easier, for example, to say Bernardo starts ahead of him for a time? I think when you've paid that amount of money, is there a pressure to keep him in the starting 11 all the time? He's 21, he's in a new footballing culture, a new environment, a new way of playing within a league that he's adapting to. I think Brendan Rodgers is right to say, can people calm down a little bit? Can they get off his back and give him a bit of time? I think he'll come good for Celtic. I think it would be beneficial maybe to take him out of the starting 11 for a bit, but he's right. This time, football fans are so incredibly fickle. 6 months ago, if you'd said to any Celtic fan over the summer, someone's come in for Kuhn, would you take the money? They wouldn't have blinked an eye. It happens repeatedly, I think, with players, that you get a very, very quick judgment and reaction without really giving them time to settle in. I think what you've seen, the early evidence of what he's contributed across the opening months of his Celtic career would suggest that he'll go on to be a fairly positive signing for Celtic. I think it's far too early to be making judgments.
Is that £11 million price tag a pressure in itself for him?
I think it is, yeah, and especially when you're only 20-year-old as well. He's young, he's moving to another country, he's having to adapt to it. You don't get a lot of time in Scottish football. People are on you straight away, and it takes a lot of people time to adapt. And I think, as you said, Nicholas Kuhn's a perfect example. Last season he didn't light the world on fire, whereas this season he's been excellent. So sometimes going to another country, you do need that time to adapt, and it's the same thing. I think he'll be totally fine. And plus, he's been playing a lot of football as well. He's been away with Belgium, playing 2 games previously as well. So you've got to factor in a lot of that as well.
A lot of things as well, people don't realise that the majority of people who come to Rangers and Celtic for other clubs don't play in front of 60,000 people. No. You know, they might be a reasonable club, but they're only getting 25, 30,000, and then when you go into that arena, you know, you've got to produce it, and if you're not producing it, as Alison says, your confidence is going to be dented a wee bit. So it's up to the manager to assess, you know, and look after the player, which I think Brendan Rodgers will do.
I think it's microscopic. If you play for Celtic and Rangers, as you'll know, the pressure is relentless. It's absolute. It's when you're playing, it's when you're not playing. It's walking about the city being asked and being stopped by people. I think it probably could be quite overwhelming when you're walking into that sort of area. I think Glasgow is a city that likes to lay claim to its footballers. I think you're living your life in a very public domain, and it's a small city. There's not a lot of escape from it. I think it can be really quite intense for players, and just getting used to that probably takes a bit of getting used to. We've grown up in the west of Scotland. You understand what that's like. I think coming into it new, I think would be different. I think it's not like other places, like where it might be a bit more relaxed. I think there's a focus and an intensity if you play for Celtic or Rangers that it probably takes certain players aback.
It's even worse if you're in Glasgow and you start getting chased.
Oh, really?
That'll be a new thing.
After one of the World Cup.
Well, at Celtic do take on Ross County at Celtic Park, Ruffy. You would expect Celtic to be the dominant force, but they did struggle against Ross County.
Yeah, they did up there, you know, but again, I keep saying this on a Friday and Monday we'll look at the possession that Celtic will have. It'll be something 70-75%.
Yeah.
You know, and that's always difficult, you know, to come away with a win. But they're organised. If they sit in, you know, they'll hope that Celtic don't score early, you know, which sometimes they don't. But if they do, you know what's going to happen. You know, it's going to be 4, 5, 6. But I think Ross County will go there. They'll know this isn't the be-all, end-all game for them, you know, so they'll want to just come away for Park with a decent result.
What are we thinking then this weekend?
I think Celtic will win 3-1.
3-1, David?
I'm going to go 4-0. I think they'll be comfortable.
Right, perfect.
3-0.
3-0 then, from one European competition to another. Hearts took on Cercle Brugge in the Conference League. A 2-0 defeat. Lauren Shankland misses the penalty. It's just not clicking at all for the Jambos, is it?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I thought they played well. At 1-0 they get the penalty and Lawrence is the one you would want to step up. It's just unfortunate for him, the goal drought he's going through. I think it is playing on his mind, and yeah, it's so unfortunate. I feel for him because you can see it. You could see it after he missed it as well. They just looked distraught, and yeah, hopefully he can get one soon and go on a run.
Fans chanting at him throughout the game. Fans get short memories with considering Player of the Year last season, 31 goals for Hearts.
Definitely, but that's just fans for you. They're very fickle. They scored double figures both seasons, probably gets them into Europe. I wouldn't say single-handedly, but if it wasn't for his goals, he definitely wouldn't have been there. And because he's not signed a new contract, he's getting a bit of stick. But he's still playing for Hearts, and I know he'll be giving everything he's got. He'll not be taking it easy because he's going to be moving. Players don't think like that. So yeah, I think it's quite poor form that fans are giving him stick.
Similar to Arne Engels, Alison, would it be beneficial to him for Neil Critchley maybe to take him out of the team for a couple of weeks?
There's an argument for that. I think it's harder when you're captain. I think, and I think too, I think he is a player who's struggled with confidence in recent weeks. The longer it's gone without getting a goal, stuck in a team that's down at the bottom end of the table and fighting for their lives at the minute, I think it's hard. I think there is an argument to say take him out of the team, but on the other hand, you think he is a player that if he maybe gets a goal, then all of a sudden you break the duck and you start to find a bit of relief. You know, it just eases the pressure on him. I thought the support, I think it just sums up football fans at times. I think obviously fuming at the fact he's not signing a new contract, he's going to leave. But Hearts wouldn't be in Europe without Lauren Shankland. They wouldn't be in that environment. I think and for a player and for a team who are very palpably suffering with a lack of confidence, it's the last thing that you should be doing. Whatever happened to supporters supporting their team, getting behind the team? It's easy to be a fan when your team are winning, when your players are performing well, when they're winning Manager of the Month and Player of the Month and everything's rosy. The real test of what you are is an adversity. This is when you need your supporters to support your club, support your players and try and lift them out of the position that they're in. To offer that kind of abuse does nothing. It does nothing advantageous for the player or for the club. And it doesn't get any easier this weekend, Ruffy, as Aberdeen make the trip to the capital.
No, but this is the kind of game you maybe think you'll get it. You know, I think generally good players come up with the goods at some time. We're not going to sit here and say he's not going to score at the end of the season. He's going to score at some time. And this, personally, I think he'll be saying to himself, this could be the game, you know, that he could win the game for them. The thing about it is he's still there, he's still getting the chances, he's still in the position. You know, he might not be hitting between the white sticks, but he's there. I just think he needs somebody else to help him. I think last year, Boyce played quite a lot up with him.
That's what I was going to say as well.
There's a lack of pace in the team. There's a
I just don't think.
I
think sometimes when strikers aren't scoring goals, they need a mate. They need somebody who'll take the pressure off him a wee bit, and maybe he'll have an assist for him, or he'll have an assist for him.
That's what I was going to say. I don't think there's many in the team that's chipping in with goals, so that's putting more pressure on Lawrence because they're relying on him to score. If you look at Danda, Spittle, Barry Mackay, he's not really been playing. Devlin, none of them are really chipping in with goals, so it's all
the onus
focus is all on Lawrence to score.
And that was pretty much what happened last season because what was it, 30 goals,
33 goals. Scotland, yeah.
So you think like when you take that out of any team, then the team struggles. I think what you're seeing this season is just how important he was last term.
Absolutely. Well, they take on Aberdeen, who fell to defeat at the hands of St Mirren. They'll be looking to get back onto winning ways.
Yeah, defeat against St Mirren, and then of course the mad
Yes,
mad
of course, Hibs,
Road
yeah,
Wednesday night. I think some of us would be breathing a sigh of relief not to be writing on that one. Ted, on a
Peter had that one, I think,
deadline. Yeah, I think 1 point from the 6 that have been available to them. I think it's been a start to the campaign that Aberdeen fans would have bitten your hand off for at the start of the summer. They'll be delighted with where they are. But this now is a kind of test for them, how you come through, having just dropped a couple of points, how you react to it, how you come back. So, yeah, all eyes on this one. Quite an interesting one. I think Aberdeen will win. I think they'll be too strong for Hearts, but interesting to see how it plays out.
What's your scoreline?
I'm going to say 2-1 Aberdeen.
David?
I'm going to go 2 each.
2 each. Ruffy?
I'm going to go Hearts to win 2-1 with Shankland scoring the winner.
Shankland's going to score the winner. All right then. As always on PLZ Soccer,
We give a bit back.
We provide unique video content across all of our shows and social media platforms, including, of course, some exclusive interviews. Tonight at 8 o'clock on our YouTube channel, Shay Logan speaks for the first time about the racism scandal during his time at Aberdeen. He gives a unique insight in how racism still affects players in the modern game and explains how he is teaching his children to rise above ignorance.
I've actually never spoke about it like publicly till this time. This is the first interview I've ever done. People have asked me to do interviews so many times, and it's never just been, not really bothered about it. Don't really want to bring it back up. It should just never happen. But they obviously only seen what you see in the newspapers and in the news and stuff like that and online. They don't actually know the facts of the case and going to court and stuff like that. They don't see that. What is held accountable? Do you know what I mean? How many games is good enough? Is 7 games? Is 10? Is 3? Is the whole season? I don't want him to lose his career just for something he said to me, because it didn't affect me. I would feel bad if he would have lost his career if this punishment was, right, you can't ever play football again just because of a spur of the moment thing that he said to me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, listen, it's a great interview out at 8 o'clock tonight, and he was just so candid and so open with you about the topic.
Yeah, I think he was fantastic. If you get a chance to watch it, it's a really powerful interview. I think obviously a difficult thing to speak about and a difficult thing to handle, but I thought I had nothing but admiration for him and how he spoke about it and his view on how to cope with it and to deal with it.
Absolutely. Well, before we get to the rest of the Premiership games, here's Cara with the news.
Hello and welcome to your daily news headlines on Friday the 29th of November, sponsored by Arnold Clark. Joe Wright insists that the Kilmarnock dressing room are trying to learn from their mistakes in an attempt to stop getting so many red cards.
Well, I see it's just obvious. Like, as a team, we need to get better. We can't be going into games and losing players every week. So I think it's about taking that accountability and making sure that it doesn't happen.
Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta says that his team are going to have to be near perfect in order to catch Premier League leaders Liverpool.
Well, if they continue that way, that's for sure. If the numbers they're producing, the amount of games they are winning. But again, it's just the focus is on us, and maintaining the consistency, especially in performances. That's going to give us the right to win a lot of games.
Finally, Barcelona have reportedly decided against recalling Alex Bai from his loan spell at Celtic, as they are apparently happy with the progress the left-back is making. Those were your daily news headlines on Friday the 29th of November, sponsored by Arnold Clark. For more breaking news and daily content, please be sure to download our app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Thanks to Cara for the headlines there. Back to domestic duties, Ruffy, and they continue at Rugby Park. Kilmarnock take on Dundee, and it feels like every other week these two go head to head. But there's always goals.
Yeah, there certainly is. You don't want to leave that game early, because there's always something going to happen. But I think Derek will want to win this one. I think they want to be where they are in the league compared to last year. We all said that I think last year they hadn't won an away game for so many months, but now they're in and out. But I just think they need a win. They need a good win. You need to get their two strikers to start scoring again, which was very, very good when they were winning games. So I think it'll be tight, but I think Kilmarnock might just sneak this one.
And they need to keep 11 men on the park, David, as well.
That's what I was going to say. I think the discipline this season's not been great for them. And with Europe at the start of the season as well, that out of the way, you think they were going to turn a corner, but the red cards have killed them in most games. So Derek McInnes, so he'll want to get a good win, especially against his friend as well, Dundee. So yeah, I'd fancy Kilmarnock to get back onto winning ways and push up that table.
And despite the position in the table, as David mentioned, Derek McInnes maintains his side aren't in a worse position than what they were last season.
We're only one win less than where we were last season at this stage, and obviously we're going to get 56 points and finish 4th in Europe and all the rest of it. So we know that it's not beyond us being that team again and to get into top 6 whatever, but we need to try and start getting wins now rather than waiting further down the line. Talking about discipline, talking about Europe, we're done with that now. You know, it's important that now, towards the end of November, the fixtures coming thick and fast, it's important we try and recognise the importance of, yes, being as positive as we can, but also being as good as we can.
Ali, what are we thinking this one?
I think it might be a share of the points.
Yeah, again.
Yeah.
That's no easy.
Changing your mind. Dundee, David, a win over Hibs, obviously, last weekend. Tam always comes on the show and he gives us these wild predictions. He thinks Dundee will be in the bottom 2. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I don't go with that.
No?
I think Dundee will be probably mid-table.
Yeah.
I think they've got a good squad. Play good football. I think they're a good side, and yeah, I can't see them being in the bottom 2 if I'm honest. There's a lot worse teams than them this season.
Who are you going for this season?
Bottom 2. Well, I wouldn't expect Hibs and Hearts down there to be honest, but having seen Hibs, I think they are struggling, and same with Hearts. I still think Lawrence, Shankland will start scoring goals and Hearts will start getting results. You still think the Hibs' squad as well, but they just don't seem to be getting wins at all. You're saying the same thing every week. They'll get a win this week, but I think Ross County, I think, might be down there. I know their home form usually does well for them, but as I say, I think the 2 Edinburgh clubs will start to pick up and go up the table.
Yeah, who's joining Ross County then? Pushing you?
Struggling with this one actually.
What did you say, Ali?
Johnson.
Yeah,
Johnstone.
probably. Yeah, they have picked up under the new manager, but yeah, I think it could be them as well.
What are we going for score line then on Kilmarnock Dundee?
I'm going to go 2-1 Kilmarnock.
2-1
I think
Kilmarnock.
it'll be a tight affair.
2-1 Kilmarnock.
And you think?
What you said.
2-2 again, Ali.
Yes.
Right, Motherwell will take on Hibs. David Gray still at the helm for the Hibees. Normally, when it's not looking good for a manager, you can see it on the park. The performances are sloppy, but that game against Aberdeen, they are putting everything they can into games.
Yeah, I don't think you can question that they're giving everything for him. I think your heart goes out to him actually now. When you're watching him, he looks under pressure. I think you can see how uncomfortable he is. I think he's been honest in his post-match press conferences. I think sometimes it can be difficult for managers when you get to that kind of position and questions are being asked of you all the time, and they're being asked at a point when you're fairly raw in terms of your emotions straight after the game. I think he's handled it very well. I think he's not been particularly snippy with journalists, which you can sometimes get. I think in those moments, I think he's fronted up. I think his players on Wednesday night, I think you saw that they gave everything for him. I think that goal was huge, that got them back in it. I had really frantic into it. I think he'll be desperate for a performance. I think he'll maybe get them together and say, can we use this? Can we build on it? Can we do something? And it may well be a stay of execution. It may just be coming down the road as you've seen at points. But I actually think they'll get a win tomorrow. Can
he turn it around, David, in your eyes?
I think he can. I think there's been games where you watch and you think they're looking good, and they've maybe had moments where red cards have killed them, like against Dundee, and yeah, just moments like that. But with
like
David,
individual mistakes,
yeah, it's just
really
even
bad.
Goalkeeping mistakes, yeah, stuff like that is killing them, because going forward they're actually looking okay. So yeah, I'm the same. I think they will actually get a win. I think they'll be due one.
Yeah. Is a part of the determination from the players, Ruffy, for David Gray because he is such a legend at the club?
Yeah, I mean,
don't want to let him down.
David's been clubs as well where you've got a manager you got on particularly well with. You really want to win the game for him, you know, because he's a nice guy, because you got on well with him, you know, so that helps the manager because you're out there and, you know, if you're winning then he's the one that's going to benefit from it. But you're right, they're losing too many bad goals for me. You know, that if they got the first one, they needed the second one, you know, because they're no different for the Rangers and Celtic players when they're struggling, they go into a wee shell. There are certain players in that Hibs team definitely are going into a shell, and they're not playing as an 11. So the sooner they get the confidence to go ahead and comfortably try and see out a game, before they can turn it around.
Interestingly, after the Dundee game, Joe Newell spoke straight after the game and he says this is not a time for hiding, going in your shell. It's you're playing for Hibs. The club's huge.
But every football is different, and there are individuals at every club, you know, who ooze the confidence and go about thinking, even though when they're not playing well, they think they're great. You know, there are other guys who, no, I'm not really wanting that pass. You know, don't bring me in. But I mean, if you've got a nucleus of guys, that's why I always say, if you get a nucleus of guys who've been together for a long, long time, you all fight for each other. You know, I'm not having a go at lone players, but I think when you've got 5 or 6 lone players in a team, you know, I'm not saying they're not trying, but if they're all home based or they all know each other, they're fighting because they know what the cause is.
Well, they come up against the Motherwell side, David. 5th in the table, 4 defeats in their last 6. Is inconsistency a bit of a problem for Motherwell at this moment in time?
No, I think before that they'd been going really well, and they've got quite a young squad as well. Young Len Miller's been excellent for them, but I think pleasantly surprised. I think they've been really, really good this season. I wasn't expecting them to be as well as they have been so far, and I think, yeah, Kettlewell's done an excellent job, especially with the squad he's got, and I don't think they've really had any money to spend. They've brought in, I think, a few loans, and as I say, quite young squad he's got with. So to do so well so far this season, it's been excellent for them.
Has he been getting the praise that he deserves, Stuart Kettlewell, for you, Alison?
He kind of goes under the radar a wee bit at times. I think, I think he's a good manager. I think you've seen evidence of it last season and across this season. I think he'll just be aiming for top 6. I think he'll know if he kind of tries to keep them on a steady, consistent run of form, then they're very capable of finishing top 6. They'll maybe be inspired by the likes of what St Mirren done last term, Kilmarnock, and then opening the door to possibility of European football.
Yes, Dundee United take on St Mirren at Tannadice, and Alison was up hearing the thoughts of the Saints captain Mark O'Hara today.
St Mirren captain Mark O'Hara has insisted that there was never any panic within the ranks of the Paisley side. Despite a fairly turbulent start to the season, there have been headaches on and off the park for Stephen Robinson's side. However, O'Hara has insisted that it's always been business as usual for the players.
I think obviously there was questions at times from boys and things like that, but as I say, I didn't need to take any more leadership. The change room kind of manages itself, and the manager was speaking to everyone throughout it as well, and I don't think, as I said earlier, nobody was panicking, nobody was shocked. We're all together, and not much had to change.
St Mirren take on Dundee United at Tannadice tomorrow afternoon. Jim Goodwin's side have been a surprise package of the top flight this term, but for O'Hara there is still a very laudable ambition of finishing in the top 6 yet again.
I think it's obviously the league's so tight. The next 2 games are massive for us. If we're always looking up rather than looking down, I think that's got to be the first goal again, is achieve what we've achieved the last few seasons, and we've put ourselves in a better position where we were maybe a month or 2 ago. So that's always been the goal, and that hasn't changed.
Both top 6 sides for you, Rafa, Dundee United, St Mirren?
Been impressed with Dundee United. Obviously a great result for them last week. But I always think St Mirren are a big, strong team, and most of their goals come from corners, free kicks. So I'm not too sure about this one. I think it'll be very, very, very close, but I think home advantage might win this one.
Have Dundee United been a bit of a wild card for you, David, this season, where they are on the table?
Yeah, they have been. I watched a couple of games last season. I didn't think they were great, to be honest. But I think, yeah, Goodwin's done really well this season with them. They're hard to beat. He always makes his teams hard to beat, and he's had some good results, especially as you said last week was a great result for them. But I think this week it'll be a tight game. St Mirren, they're kind of similar, hard to beat, and I'm going to go for a draw on that one.
Draw in this one. Are they both top 6 for you? Sorry, should I ask you that as well?
No, I think St Mirren might get it. I think Dundee United might fall away a bit.
Right, Ali?
Yeah, I think I may agree.
Yeah. Dundee United said what they wanted to do, as we've mentioned, that 1-1 draw with Rangers at Ibrox, make the crowd nervous. Is that a key factor now for teams going to the likes of Celtic Park and Ibrox?
I think so. I think you want to frustrate teams. I think if you're playing at Celtic Park or Ibrox, you want to keep the scoreline, keep it for as long as possible. Play the first 20 minutes can be so important. I think you don't want to concede an early goal and then you're on the back foot. I think you want to invite the crowd to get on the backs of players. And I think at the likes of Ibrox, when the crowd are so edgy and antsy because of circumstances in the bigger picture, then it doesn't take much for people's frustration to look for an out. So I think you always want to kind of utilise things like that to your advantage.
Absolutely. Well, we've got some more exciting English Premier League as things are firing up. Let's have a look at the games and what we've got on offer. Yeah, lots of exciting ones to look forward to, but I think the one of the weekend, David, is of course Man City Liverpool. Looking forward to that one?
Yeah, I think it'll be a brilliant game. Man City, it's been a strange one in recent games. They don't look the same team, even during the week. 3-0 up and conceding 3 late on, which you would never ever expect with that side. So they're playing an informed Liverpool side. They've just beat Real Madrid and yeah, they look very good. So I think that'll be a tough one for City on the form that they're on and missing some key players. So I think Liverpool will win that at the weekend.
1-6 trophy for Man City. Is Pep Guardiola unsackable for you? Is he in trouble?
Yeah, I think he is. He's just signed a new contract, but it's never been heard of for a long time. That's it, four losses, is it 5, 4?
6.
6 in a row, 6. I mean, obviously seen the photographs of the way he tortures himself, so I think the sooner he gets a win, the better. He'll end up in the hospital.
Will he care where this victory comes, Alison? Whether it's Champions League, the Premier League?
I think it's just, no. I think he'll be desperate just to get a performance and get a win, but I don't see it coming at Anfield on Sunday.
Liverpool, obviously, as I mentioned, victorious over Real Madrid, which does wonders for confidence going into a game like this.
I thought they were excellent. I thought they were absolutely fantastic. I think they look odds on to go on and win the title this term.
Yeah, can they do it, Ruffy?
I'm sure Peter will hope they're going to do it. We'll never hear the end of it, unfortunately, if they do. But at this moment in time, the way Man City are, I think you've every chance.
Absolutely, you might get a trip out of it even.
Yeah, that'd be great, yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Okay.
Well, that's all we've got time for today. Thanks to Alison, Ruffy and David for joining me. As usual, we've got lots on offer on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. We're across Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, you name it, we're there. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We have lots of shows on offer. The Women's Football Show, the Saturday Morning Preview, where the guys go head-to-head in the quiz, the Journos, European Football Show and much more. But for now, thanks for listening and thanks for watching.